Are we live?
I think we are. Hello, everybody.
Hi, guys.
Welcome our 13th live dedicated to footwork. And today, as you can see, we are in the studio. So it means we're going to show you a few things actually in the studio, the way how it's supposed to work.
Exactly.
Please let us know if you can hear us well. And we are waiting, of course, for some people to join.
Sound check.
Sound check. If you can hear us, comment plus. If you cannot hear us, comment minus.
Let's see. I can
Sound.
hear you just fine.
Okay, that's great.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you for your feedback. We always try to provide the better quality, the best quality in terms of sound. And today we have the studio as well.
Would you like to stand here closer or?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, then don't go in there. Okay.
Yeah, I was checking the comments.
All right. So
All right.
Today's subject is very special, I think, to every dancer, especially in standard, because footwork is, the subject. Everybody talks about it, and it's a lot of mystery around footwork. I think, in my opinion.
Definitely, there are a lot of cliches and a lot of keywords that are there around the footwork, and that are basically like working like secret remedies for us. If we use our feet, then our dancing will be good. If our feet are strong on the floor, and so on, then our dancing will be good. So today we want to talk a little bit about those. We see how do we get the good footwork and beautiful feet. Where do we get them from? And basically maybe reveal some of the mysteries and some of the cliches for you guys as well, and encourage you to explore this subject a little bit more.
Yeah. If you guys can comment, how do you feel? Do you have a problem with your footwork, or you don't have a problem with your footwork? What is the,
on the scale from 1 to 10, how aware are you about your feet when you dance? Is this the priority? Is this number 10 when you practice? Or perhaps you never really think about it, or you have good feet automatically, naturally?
Yeah, we would like to know your opinion on that, your feel. And definitely we will share our feel as well.
Yes, we have definitely some personal stories as well as
about our feet.
Yes, as well as obviously our experience in practice and in teaching. So just leave us a comment. We love your comments. We always love the feedback. When we do our live lessons, we obviously save them on our YouTube channel for you to be able to rewatch it, to share it with your dance friends, to be able to come back to certain information. But of course, the perks of watching it live is that you guys are able to ask us any question. We are able to interact with you right away, respond to those, and hopefully with some of your dance questions, and perhaps make the practice for you. So if you're watching live,
for people who are connecting, the question: what do you feel about your footwork? Is it a priority for you when you're dancing or practicing, or maybe not at all? Do you think it's important or unimportant? How you guys feel? Before we start talking a lot as usual.
Or as usual, you can comment where you're watching from. That is my personal favorite question.
If you have no opinion on the footwork, then just text us the place. Yeah.
Let us know where you are watching from.
We're waiting for a few more people to connect before we start.
All right, let's see.
Most important, hello from Arizona. Hello.
Good
Thank
evening.
You for connecting. So footwork is very important.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
I agree. There are a lot of things to learn about feet.
Yeah. I also agree, because footwork requires a lot of other work, right, in our body, and that's something we would like to unfold today, and that's why I also agree.
Definitely important.
From New York.
From New York.
All right, thank you, Linda. Nice to see you again.
Thank you for connecting. Yeah, it's always very nice to see where you guys are watching from Michigan. All right, awesome. We have quite a geography here.
Very, very important.
So everybody agrees that feet are extremely important, and not especially, but since we are specializing in a national standard, dancers get obsessed with feet. And again, there's a lot of things to talk about today. So we are very much looking forward to it right now.
Yeah, I think this is one of the most anticipated actually lives for me, and definitely really important. We have lots of like personal stories about footwork. It's crazy how we have so many emotions from something so basic, you know.
Yeah,
But let me,
something simple.
I will be using my notes, guys. I tell you right away. So you'll see me with my paper because I really want to tell, to tell it all. And I will start with my personal story. So for a very long time, I never cared about my footwork at all. I think it was, I thought it was important as all of you, and but somehow, of course, knowing the correct footwork as far as syllabus, that's absolute must. If you are doing some basic step, it should be all toes. You're doing all heels. You are just wrong. You're gonna get bad marks, and it's wrong. So of course, on that level, I knew it quite good from the start since I was a child. But I never really worked on my feet. And somehow that was never a priority like with my teachers. They would mention a few things if I did any mistake as far as heels and toes, but that was it. Then at some point, uh, many years ago already, I was working on something, but that was not my feet. But somehow many teachers at that period of time told me, wow, your feet improved so much. You must be working on your footwork. And that left me really wondering and confused as well. I think I told you that story, right? So then I was thinking, why are they all telling me this in this like short period of time? That really confused me at that moment. But I took it as a compliment, of course, because if someone tells you you really improved your footwork, have great feet and things like that, of course you feel good about yourself. So what I was working on actually is the body weight, and we were working a lot on the swing pattern, the swing courses, the shift of the body weight, increasing the movement, and things like that. That was before I was dancing with Lilia. So I was thinking, that's strange. So this is first time when this contagious idea appeared in my mind, that how come working on the body weight improves your footwork? Because so many random people, without talking to one another, they told me that. So this is one of the very important things that we need to understand today. And by the end of this lesson, we will all understand it very clearly, believe me. What is the connection between body weight, our torso, pelvis, and other parts of our body, and our feet, and how it can actually improve our footwork? This is my, opening statement. I don't know, Lily, if you would like to
very
add
first
anything.
point. Yeah, I would just say, like, very quickly from my personal experience, that I had a period of time when my footwork improved tremendously, and the ladies will understand me probably. It's when I've gotten my very short dress for a competition. So then it was a plan. It wasn't by accident. It was extremely short skirt that
I hope it wasn't an accident.
No,
you get your dress and it's too short.
It wasn't. So I was preparing for it, and I knew that everybody's going to watch my feet. It was for the major competition, for major event. And I had those two dresses with extremely short skirts, and nobody would wear shorter skirts back then, actually. So I was the only one, and everybody were looking at me. And of course, the feet were the first visible body part. So I knew I have to get my footwork right. However, from the personal experience, I have to say I have manufactured a lot of things for my feet to look pretty. So that was kind of a shortcut. Of course, it is better to have really nice footwork, although manufactured, rather than bad footwork. But I realized back then that I was so aware, and this is where I've started to be so aware about my feet and how they look and the quality of my footwork, not just the right heels or toes, but exactly the process. How do I move my feet? And since then, I was trying to find how to create beautiful footwork more naturally. Because from that competition, my feet and not the ankles, but the arches of my feet were cramping so bad.
Yeah.
Everybody said I had great footwork, but I realized I was really working too hard on it. And really that made me research and go into the path of how to make that footwork happen more naturally, more freely, let's say.
I think without hurting your feelings and saying that you didn't do. I think you did a good job, and I think I know which competition you're talking about.
That was before me
I
dancing
should
with
say
Yaroslav
that
as well.
Lily is very talented, and she can manufacture things even when sometimes
Something goes
she
wrong. Yeah.
she doesn't feel it. She can compensate and do all sorts of things as a cover up. So I think probably that was a little bit of the case, right?
Big
That
time.
you didn't feel it so well,
Big
but
time. I didn't
people
feel
said it was good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I totally realized and manufactured my footwork. I loved how the feet looked, but there was something off it, like there was something super artificial about it. And I didn't realize that, and that made me research how to improve it.
I actually really enjoyed this conversation because we came to the same argument from completely different points.
Exactly, yes. And that was before we've danced together.
Me,
that's why.
Totally unaware, and you were extremely aware of it, to a point that you actually compensate. Okay,
yes,
good.
Exactly,
so
exactly.
It's the black and white yin yang. So if you guys coming from my point, that's
Team Yaroslav.
team Yaroslav and team Lilia, I think we can all get along together here for sure.
We will meet in the middle.
So let's start with this exciting subject. The first thing, the subject is footwork. We keep it in mind, okay? So the first thing that we need to be aware of is that when we are dancing international standard, we are moving in space, all right? So for us, space is all the empty, all the emptiness in the ballroom around us. So we are in this ballroom, which is like medium size. We have lots of empty space around. I feel, of course, I'm aware of the space behind me, side of me, on the sides, in front of me. Of course, if I look at Lilia, then there is a space between us as well, right? I'm aware that Lilia, she is occupying some space in front of me. I'm occupying more space than she does in front of her. For sure, I'm bigger than you, for sure. So space awareness is very, very important. When we are dancing, we do nothing but we're moving in space. And this is the essential part to understand. So it's really hard to understand what footwork is only thinking about feet, because that doesn't give us the clear picture. Then I think what is really important for us as a ballroom dancers in international standard style is to understand what are we really. So when I say I am moving, what am I? What is moving here, right? I think the best way, I think it's coming from Buddhism or somewhere. It's like lots of sayings that you can find yourself by understanding that you are not something. So I am aware that I'm not my feet. Okay, I can live without feet, but I hope I will be with the feet, of course. So I'm not my legs. I'm not my arms. Right? I am probably my spine when I'm dancing. Right? I'm definitely my head. And because I think I am the spine and body basically very much connected to one another. So in my understanding, and I think Lilia agrees with me here, we are the body, we're the torso.
Yeah. So when you say something about yourself, you would usually say me, I am, and you would touch your body either lower or higher. So somewhere where your torso is, you wouldn't touch your arm or your leg or your foot.
But even from dancing point of view, without going into lungs and different internal organs and Buddhism, it just
So when we're moving,
it's coming from somewhere. I wanted to share with you.
Exactly.
So when we say, okay, I'm going to move now and shift more in space. So I am as what? My body will go and shift more in space. Very important to understand, especially in the heat of the competition. When you want to increase something, you have to know exactly what to increase and where that area is. Because when I'm saying, oh, I'm going to increase my movement so much right now, my body doesn't move and then my leg moves only, of course,
which is very popular.
I am not moving. I have to move in space, and then my leg is moving, then my foot is moving, and everything else is moving too, including my frame, right? And hopefully my partner. Because maybe I'm moving in space, but she didn't have that plan. So space is really important, and we understand that we are in space. It's our body in space. Space around us, let's think that this is three-dimensional. Okay, we have three different planes. which is transverse, coronal, sagittal, and we somehow interact with all of those planes when we're just living our everyday life, but also when we are dancing. Coming to the feet, right? So feet, we said that we're not our feet. Okay, feet are somewhere there to serve us actually. So feet are also attached to certain space, but that space is very, very different that space that our body kind of lives in, right, or functions in. So feet are definitely attached to the floor, and floor is one dimension. It's only one plane on the. I think actually we can say from the from the scientific point, it's two planes that forms that surface, right? But it's definitely one dimension. So every time we think about the body, it's three dimensions. Every time we think about the feet, it's one dimension. When I think the subject is very essential because it's in the technique book. Footwork is something that is in the book.
Syllabus layer, right?
Yeah, on the syllabus layer. There are different organizations that have various books, but Footwork is in all of them. So people who created the syllabus, they were very much aware of the footwork. They must have been, right, if they put it there everywhere. And from the teacher's point of view, if you need to write a book, it's much easier to teach about something one-dimensional than three-dimensional, especially considering that was many years ago. And even the book is one-dimensional if you think about it. It's very hard. I have this problem right now. I have to write an email about something creative. And so the creative part in my brain, it's so bright, and it has all these colors and smells, and all this three-dimensional stuff. But then I'm writing an email and I'm thinking, well, this is real challenge. I have to transfer it in the one-dimensional email. So that's why when we talk about movement, how can we teach people move in space? What is the reference point? The one-dimensional reference point becomes much more simple than three-dimensional reference point. Maybe we have to redo it and create a different way of, well, in a way, the way we teach, even we teach footwork, we teach through the body and space. So some of our students who started with us from the scratch, they know what we're talking about. And I feel like this is a shortcut in a way. So we spoke about, sorry, Lily. Yes. We spoke about three-dimensional for the body. We spoke about one-dimensional for our feet. When we read the technique book and we have all those heels and turns, we understand that this is a one-dimensional
surface that we're talking about.
Yeah, ecosystem. When our feet are interacting with something one-dimensional, and I think I got this knowledge from university, but a lot of people will reflect, especially the one with the kids, right? So we all have instincts that we are born with, right? One of the most basic instinct is breathing, breath. Even like kids born, they start yelling. Why? Because they just start breathing and they are shocked. Also, when they realize what world they're coming in, of course, they are crying almost immediately, probably. But another very, very basic instinct that everyone has from the birth, basically, it's the pushing instinct, right? So if we take, again, I don't have kids, we don't have kids, but this is all anatomy and different things we were just learning from the university. But I'm sure many people can relate. So you have this little, the precious child. You are in the swimming pool with the child. How do we teach kids how to swim? We move them very close towards the border, and they push away from it. And this is their instinct, and basically the main driver and source to glide through the water, and maybe then they do something. So little by little, we form this swimming pattern for them. So pushing is one of the most basic instincts, right? Then some people who are pushing from the leg and know me and know my and Lilia's reaction towards pushing from the leg that is negative are probably already a little bit laughing as I'm saying all of these things. So for us as human beings, on instinctive level, it's basic to push from something one-dimensional, right? You have a wall, you want to try, you want to try that wall and push away from the wall. If you're a kid, you want to climb somewhere, push out and jump from the chair. You have a floor and you want to dance, and pushing from the floor is very, very basic. It is our instinct, right? Now, I have bad news for for some of you guys. Pushing from the floor, unfortunately, is going against the dance technique, and this is something that will always be as an obstacle to understand footwork as well. All right.
Exactly.
If you would like to add something.
Of course, this was very long preparation to the long introduction.
I really want
to coming back to the feet.
Everybody to understand, the principle behind it, because of course, it's really funny. One of our teachers, I think he made really good point a few years ago and made everybody laughing. He says, "How come the beginner goes into dance studio, walks perfectly, perfect coordination, as soon as that beginner sees the square in walls, then coordination is gone, the person cannot move, and they have to relearn everything," right?
And that is something to do basically with the sequence, how we start learning dancing, because we do walk into the studio knowing nothing. And the first thing that we learn is our feet. We learn how to step. And again, if I would come a little bit further, we learn how to step. So we first learn how to move with that moving leg, right? And which footwork it is. Is it a heel? Is it a toe? So this is the first thing that they teach us in our very first dance class. However, when Yaroslav started to talk about the body, and about me and about pushing instinct, right? This is something to do with where our feet are located, actually. So when we talk about the floor and that flat surface that we're standing on, and then we talk about our body in terms of our trunk, our torso, ourselves, the feet, they end up between the floor, between that surface, and between our body weight. So this is something that is basically stuck in between the gravity and our body, or between the ground and our body weight. So this is basically like a body part that is this connector between us and between the surface where we are relating to. So what is important here is to basically allow our feet to be those connectors, allow them not to interfere with whatever we do with our body, and allow the feet to, in a way, follow what our body does in space. And this is really the secret and the mystery behind the good footwork. Whenever we're trying to use the feet, or let's say use the feet. Use is a very, very often word, very, very often used word, let's say, that we have in our ballroom dance world.
It's too broad.
It's very broad. And the first instinct that we have, again, as Yaroslav has mentioned, use means push. So we start doing something like that with our feet. We start pushing away from the floor, which will bring us up and away from the floor, and will create a lot of basically stiffness in our joints, if you'd like, in our toe joint, in our ankle joint. As a result, in our knee joint, in our hip joint, we create a lot of stiffness in our leg. We create a lot of rigid body parts between us and the floor, and we basically disconnect from the surface that we're standing on. So word use in terms of our footwork very often plays a bad joke with us. So we stop being aware of the surface that we're standing on. We stop being aware of our feet. Instead, we start doing something with them. We start using them in a certain way, which led me to that manufacturing footwork situation back at my competition. But that would also disconnect you and your body from your feet, and very often lead to footwork mistakes.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I completely agree. I totally agree.
Thank you.
And I would like to say that perhaps the wording and how we think about those words can also play an essential role. So when I am using my feet, it's my body using my feet, but not opposite. Not that my feet are doing something for my body. So the connection between me and my feet is vertical from up to down, but not from down to up. I don't think anyone sees it as a horizontal type of relation, right? Connection, I mean relation. Yeah, but it's definitely from up to down. And thanks God, we still have a lot of time. we would like to show you how we can move with that.
Exactly.
Do we have a question?
We have some questions here.
Okay.
I would like to take a look at. Revolutionary concept.
Okay.
Oh my God.
We like it. We like it.
We agree. Don't. Not many people have, unfortunately, this kind of vice versa thinking about the footwork. Is it this idea to push different than when it is mentioned to use foot pressure? It's basically the same. Sorry, I will have to switch places. This is my better side. So using foot pressure is exactly what we're talking about, is pushing away from the foot. Mm-hmm. So foot pressure, before we start showing any examples, is something I want to touch base on, because it's another
all yours.
Yes,
all yours. I don't even want to talk about this.
One of those cliches that I've mentioned in the beginning. And foot pressure is basically not an action, it's a feeling. So again, as I mentioned, we're standing on the floor that is a flat surface, like right now. And we have certain body weight pressing onto our foot. So let's say I have this foot length, which is a size, revealing the secret,
a bit further, yeah.
Size 9, my foot. Okay?
Oh, your feet.
So I have this long foot here underneath my body, between me and the floor. So then what I'm experiencing the distribution of my body weight, not going to mention the numbers here, on this size 9 shoe or size 9 foot on the floor.
More or less equally.
More or less equally, exactly. If I am balanced and I find my vertical alignment, I have good posture, I am somewhere in between my foot supports my whole body weight. Now, here is the secret. In case my routine tells me, or my choreography, my figure tells me I have to rise up on my toe. So now I'm standing on one toe, not even on two toes, let's say on one toe. Now, once I'm standing on one toe, what I am experiencing is the surface that is not size 9 anymore, but it becomes much shorter. That is only the ball of my foot.
And also not 2 feet, but 1 foot.
Let's say 1
if
foot.
If you switch your body weight over to
this would be the least foot pressure
that we experience.
The least. Yeah. If I stand on 1 foot, now this whole body weight is on top of 1 flat foot. And if we go even further and we go up on our toe, now this whole body weight is on top of our ball of the foot. So what I'm experiencing is the surface, the supporting surface becomes smaller. Therefore, by physical laws, this body pressuring on top of the smallest surface has more of the pressure, has more of the, basically, of the weight. So my feeling for pressure increases in that small supporting spot, which is the ball of the foot. Yeah. And this is actually what we call foot pressure. It is not that I'm going to stand with my body on top of my feet, close my eyes and really try to press onto my feet. I'm not going to experience any more foot pressure that already exists.
Of course, we remember from physics that it is a force, right? The weight is a force, and the distribution of weight, that's why the pressure that we experience in our feet is a result of that force that interacts with our sole of the foot, floor that we're standing, and so on and so on. And I am actually very happy to see this kind of comments, because Johan says that it totally changed his dancing.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
yes.
one of Lilia's students. Thank you. Yeah. And then Linda says something I think that is really important and well written. It's more like absorbing the body weight rather than using compression, which is 100% true. I can sign absolutely under every word. So using the body weight and seeing the result of that usage on our feet, that is a footwork. But footwork is not something that you're actively doing only with your feet and looking at the result in the body. And that's why I really like this comment. Is great. Thank you.
Same goes for the foot rise. So rise in the foot is, if you don't mind me jumping into that.
What is
keyword.
It? Rise.
Foot rise?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, if I'm not going out of your sequence.
No, actually,
I was very prepared.
That's something, yeah.
So same goes, as for the foot pressure, same goes for the foot rise. So whenever we talk about standard, we have all these sayings. We have the swing rise, we have the body rise, we have the foot rise. So like different, I'm sure you've heard these different kind of types of rise, let's say. However, if we think about it in a
I-
revolutionary concept.
By the way, I never tried to get involved into these details when I was like actively learning how to dance, because to me it was a little bit, vague. How can the rise can be five different things? That's just my, I'm sharing with you my personal,
let's call it a method of teaching, which we all went through and we all heard it from our teachers as well. I mean, personally, me a lot. Maybe you haven't gotten so much of those keywords. I have gotten.
Sometimes I hear things, but I try not to listen. Yeah.
I've gotten a lot of those, so different types of rise. However, in a concept related to the feet particularly, and in a whole total concept of moving the body in space, if we think about dancing as a totality, in a totality way.
Totally, you mean that everything moves in your body?
Yeah, you involve every body part. You don't.
You become very mysterious.
Yeah, you don't just dance with your feet or just with your eyes or just with your frame. You want to use the whole body. If you think about dancing in this kind of totality, using the whole body, of course, the rise will be only one rise. Okay, so again, we're coming back to me. Rising in space, therefore my feet will rise. So again, we're coming back to the sequence where I'm not going to be standing and trying to create a foot rise. So that would be the push that Yaroslav is talking about. When I'm trying to rise, I'm going to move my body up slightly forward, perhaps, because I'm going to want to involve few planes of movement. So I'm not just going up again one-dimensionally. So I'm going to use my body to rise, and that will peel my heels off the floor. Therefore, I'm going to come on my ball of the foot, on my toe, experience more feeling of foot pressure, and as a result, my foot will rise, obviously, from being flat to go and peel off the floor, starting with the heel.
Yeah.
So that's basically the sequence that we want to think about it.
Yes. And it starts from intention. So maybe you guys can look back at our previous life on intention, right? So the intention has to be that body does it, and then we go through the sequence like Lilia said. Body goes up, and then feet have no other choice rather than to go. Then talking about the rise, it is very handy to remember what do we intend to do? Do we want to rise vertically? Almost never, right? Do we want to rise as a pendulum or metronome sometimes, right? To finish the pendulum swing course or to do the metronomic swing course.
And that brings us to your rise and fall subject.
Yes, that brings to rise and fall subject. So Lilia covered the rise, right? And rise and fall, we can think about it. It's like a chicken or egg. Do we rise first, then fall, or we fall and then rise? It doesn't really matter. So then if we talk about the fall, and our feet are definitely being used by our body, by ourselves, as we are going down. So if I'm standing straight here and I want to go down and let's say go with the heel, I decide with my body that my body starts going down, and that's why I'm going with the heel. And then somewhere I'm going to, let me go from here. Yeah. So I decide to go down, I decide to go up. And of course, it would be really strange if my feet don't respond. I think it is really important to be in this state of mind as you're doing it. It cannot happen, especially if you guys are dancing, I don't know, let's say 5+ years and you were never aware of this subject. It's not going to happen. Yeah, the time is now. This is, if you were waiting for the sign, that's the sign. Okay, this life is designed to do it. But you have to be really into it and seeing, is your body in space going? I will show my legs. Is your body in space going down? And that's the heel. Your body in space going up, and that's the toe, right? Exactly. So this is just body in space that makes our feet go certain way. Then going a little bit further, I give you a little like sneak peek. Imagine how many things as far as body in space we can do on dynamics layer, where everything is about what body does in space. The opportunities, if not endless, but many combinations. We're talking about probably like hundreds exactly. Of combinations overall, what we can do. That's why, our dance style is very exciting, standard, because that's in a close proximity with each other, that we are doing all of those movements.
Now, again, as Yaroslav has mentioned, the rise and fall will influence your footwork a lot. So we have to know whether we're going down, whether we're going up, which pathway we're choosing in order to understand the footwork. So, okay, there is a way to manufacture it again, and you're just going to study the technique book by heart, which, of course, obviously, all the professional would go through. And there is another way that is, I would say, more natural, and of course, even for someone who knows the technique book by heart, would be a way to perfect the footwork and will be a way to make it more organic and more coordinated with the rest of the body, which we all want. And it is to pay attention where that body is going, either down or up. However, it is very often that our body would go down into the heel lead, let's say that the potential heel lead, but it wouldn't happen. So very often the body goes down and we still step forward with the toe. This happens a lot to beginners, a lot of my beginner students. So I teach them the body goes down and then they still would take a toe lead somewhere where it's supposed to be a heel toe, let's say. So sometimes the footwork will be related to the bad posture. So if
I wanted to say posture problem.
Posture course. If our posture is collapsing as it's doing even the correct intention, the correct mechanics, we're not going to get the correct result or the desired result. So we have to come back to our posture, to our vertical alignment, and then produce a certain pathway. Only then you are going to have a good footwork. So posture can influence your footwork a lot. Misalignment will lead to wrong heels and toes. So posture number one, as always, movement in space, know your pathway, and then allow your feet to follow that pathway. Now, very often our feet, I'm so sorry.
No, you
I will still keep going.
I'm not doing it because I'm annoyed.
Now, very often our feet are like two little stones. Sometimes because of wrong shoes, too tight shoes.
Stones, you mean too much tension?
Like too much tension, right? It's like very, very tight. Wrong shoes, too small shoes.
Wrong understanding of footwork.
Wrong understanding.
So if you guys are dancing, the feel should, when you guys are dancing, the feel of your legs should be that they are very, very relaxed inside the shoe. If you are dancing
silently,
if you are dancing and it's a lot of tension, the footwork is not going to happen. Yeah. I think that's a really clear black and white marker. If you experience that, bad. If you experience relaxed feet, good.
Interactive offer from me. If you guys want to see a cool visual example on the feet, and this is something that helped me a lot in standard, I have a very cool visual from a ballerina dancing barefoot, like feet zoomed in. Super short. I can send you the video. Just make sure you
message
me on Facebook or email us on yaroslav.lily@gmail.com. Send a comment anywhere. I will just forward that video to you on feet, because that was super helpful for me to learn how to relax those feet in my shoes, because standard shoes are very tight, like pumps, right? Especially for ladies, they're very tight, like quite firm, and you want them firm because you don't want your feet to be wobbling inside the shoes. But it's very easy to find your feet basically becoming as well as firm and sometimes tight. So I have a very cool visual to send you. And very often I actually hear and see people are teaching to grab the floor with the foot, to create something like that. Which is completely opposite from what, for example, we believe in.
Well, it's not the belief; it's just wrong footwork, wrong teaching.
Something would definitely prevent you from really moving your body weight, prevent you from that coordinated footwork.
I am a troublemaker. I have fired many teachers that I've seen that they are teaching that, and some of them are very famous dancers and judges and everything, but since my career is over, I can share with you guys. Yeah, so, be careful with that.
So what we want to do, actually, we want to relax the foot in the shoe. So we want to provide as much surface. If this was my foot, I want to provide as much surface, as much connection with the floor as possible. So I would really be as balanced as possible as well. So I want my toes open, and I want my ball of the feet really wide. Yeah. So this is something.
I think we should breathe out a little bit. We've been talking non-stop for 39 minutes already. And in a few moments, we are going to explain how we can read the technique book properly, knowing all the information that we know. But I would like to ask you guys, first of all, to like this video, because I see more people watching than we have likes. And you know, I'm only doing it because of that. And also, I would like to ask you if you have any questions and comments so far, because this is a lot of material already. Some people even said this is a revolutionary knowledge. Yeah, so congratulations. Okay, I see more likes. This is very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep going, keep going.
And you know, we love your questions. If you are
comments
hesitant,
are important.
Yeah.
Because at some point, remember intention, then many people saying, yeah, great lecture, we're all very confused. So that was very challenging. So please shoot us a comment. What is your immediate reaction to this revolutionary information? I'm using your words, not my words. I live with this information for a long time already. I had time to get used to it.
In fact, many, while you are typing your comments in, many of our students who's, again, as Yaroslav said, who just started with us from scratch, they are learning faster, basically using this sequence.
This idea, of course.
Because what we went through, and most of the dancers we went through, is, again, starting with the moving legs, starting with the feet first, not moving the body for years, especially in standard, which is very frustrating, really. And I feel very bad for our style, because we only basically move our feet and legs. We're so restricted in our frames. We never really move the body outside of our feet. We keep it still. And then we only place those feet in front of us. So this is very, can be very restrictive, right? So yeah, learning this way, you get your body moving around, you get more sense for dancing, you get the whole body involved in dancing. And of course, we all look for the shortcuts. This is one of them, guys, believe us, this is one of them.
Yeah. So we give a huge shout out to Treng's teacher, because she says that my teacher always says to spread my toes and relax them inside the shoes. And I have to remind myself to spread my toes instead of clenching them while dancing. Very nice. Good. Yes. Very happy to hear it, actually, because of course, the team of teachers who are saying this, unfortunately, is much smaller than the other team who is saying that we have to crunch them. Yes. So that is, I think, not coming from bad intention, but it's rather coming from some overcorrection or some method just to correct, to have some quick fix of something. Yeah, but
definitely compensation.
Long term, unfortunately, we have to say it doesn't work. So this is very good. Yeah.
Well done. Very well done.
How confused you are, guys, from 0 to 10? 0 is not confused, and 10 totally confused. I am wondering. Team has a comment. Is there a difference between tango and the swing dances in the principles of footwork?
Thank you for reminding us, Tim, because I don't have the paper with me, but this was one of my points. It's actually written down there. It's one of our points on footwork in tango. It is a very good question. Thank you for that. So what we have in tango, and as well, I'm going to kind of cross-reference to that thing that Yaroslav has mentioned in terms of how do we read the technique book. If you take a look at the technique book and the footwork in tango, you will always see that there's no mentioning of the toe. There is always mention of the ball of the foot, and very often flat foot. So what we see a lot in tango is ball flat or heel flat. There is no rise in tango, no rise and fall in tango, because we don't create those swing pathways. It's a relatively flat dance. Relatively, there is some pathways. But what we have from technique book, we are not really having that much of the rise. Therefore, we read ball flat, heel flat. This would be the main difference. And again, because of the pathways we take in the body, not because in the feet. But if we take a look at the feet themselves, for example, if we talk about tango, if we start moving, let's say in tango backwards first, I would be doing ladies part back. Our foot will be moving quite flat. I always have the sensation of the moving foot as a flat iron in tango. So my Achilles is very long, my ankle is flexed. So I'm basically placing my foot as flat as possible as my body is moving backwards. And same for forward. I'm not going to have that much of the articulation like in the swing dance, because I'm not going to be coming from the rise to the lowering situation and to the rise again, right? I'm not going to have as much of the pendulum, obviously. I'm not going to have a pendulum at all in
because
tango.
body moves differently, then you have a different sensation of the feet. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm not creating that one anymore. I'm going to create a very flat movement. So again, it's going to be a very subtle heel flat. And as you can see, the ankle is not really articulating as much in tango.
And I think on the most kind of basic level, the main difference between tango and other dances, because of what Lilia mentioned with the rise and fall and other pathways, is that in tango probably you will have a sensation of the standing leg a bit more pronounced and more often during the movement than in other dances. In other dances, the sensation is more or less, I should say, equalized between 2 feet. But in tango, because you're picking up,
the reason is because you're picking up the moving
because
foot.
they're picking up another leg. So I feel my standing leg, and at some point I don't feel my moving leg at all in terms of the foot, because it's off the ground. So my body uses my standing leg, but not my moving leg. It's picked up. My body uses my standing leg, but not my moving leg, because it's picked up. So I do have a little bit of feeling like, like this in tango that I don't have at all in other dances. This is like on the most basic layer. Okay, guys, so if you don't have any comments, let's
hello from Ohio.
Hello from Ohio. Yeah, we are going to Ohio soon, actually.
Yeah.
Let's carry on. And as I promised, how do we read the technique book? So when we see the technique book and we see heels and toes, heel toes, that's another big
toe, heel, toe.
Yeah, toe, heel, toe, and other things. If we want to understand what does the book want from us, we need to ask ourselves a question. First question is, what do I need to do with my body so my foot reacts in the way that I'm reading? What do I do with my body so my foot reacts in this way? That, let's say, it's a heel toe. If you can ask this question and answer to it, if you have an answer to that, or your teacher has an answer to that, that's the shortest version how you can be on the right track in your dance development as far as the footwork, right? So rise and fall is important. If it's a heel, for sure I'm going down with my body, and that has to be registered, on every layer. I don't think it's it's a good idea. I give you a bad example, right? So I produce a lot of foot pressure, which means my body goes up, because that's the only way I can produce the foot pressure, right? I'm all stretched and all of those things. And now I have to go with the heel. So now I have to be very creative. So instead of my body goes down, it cannot, because I'm all lifted up. Now I compress my knee and I still make this heel happen. Yeah, and when I said compress the knee, Lilia is already looking at me in a very strange way, because of course those are all the markers that something is going wrong, because compression is compensation, because body didn't go down to the foot didn't experience that force, and so I cannot go with the heel. And the reason why I cannot go with the heel, because for me to go with the heel, my body has to go kind of diagonally down, so I do the heel. But if my body is doing the foot pressure, then it cannot go down, it goes up. So I make it go down. And here is, all our creativity as a human beings and dancers kicks in, and we start doing strange things.
Yeah. And again, compression is one of the, let's say, cliches or cliche words that are overused in ballroom dancing. And again, it is more to do with the leg mechanics, and we do talk a lot about this in our mechanics course that is coming out very soon. It's not as related to the foot necessarily to today's subject. However, it is one of the ways, as Yaroslav has said, to compensate. Another cliche started with the foot. So as you know, in standard, everything starts with the foot.
No.
Another cliche, right? So if you start with a foot, you foot press, then you have to compress the leg and you have
Then
to
you have to
stretch the
push.
body. So you see how many more
Yeah.
years you add on your learning process. To
Years
them.
and how many more gray hair you
Yes, a lot
add.
of stress. So
So
basically, we want to get rid of compensation. We want to look at the root of the movement.
problem, yeah.
Yes.
Heel toe. This is really
Very good.
important because people tend to forget that heel flat and heel toe are different things. So following this logic, if I read that it's a heel toe, what does my body need to do in order for my foot to do a heel toe? Definitely there is a lowering, so my body goes down and forward, and as soon as I hit the heel, I start rising on the same leg. So it means my body initiates the rise. So I did the toe, so I can keep going further on the toe. And this has to be programmed and planned before you start the motion. So intention, coming back to our other, I swear to God, I didn't plan those things.
No.
So intention is really, really important. So my body goes down, it's a heel, on the same leg goes up, it's a toe, and then I keep going forward. As you guys can understand already, my feet are relaxed. I'm not crunching, grabbing, or anything like that. I am so not crunching that I didn't even know the word crunching in English. So that's how relaxed the foot inside the shoe is. This is another big thing, right? In terms of how do we read the technique book?
Yeah. Another cool one is for our pivoting actions, which is moving backwards, toe, heel, toe. Very often for gentlemen, they have struggle for a spin turn, for anything really spinning, anything, including the pivoting action. So in a technique book, you would read toe, heel, toe, and what it will give us a great hint that our body has to do something. So basically moving backwards, we're moving with a toe because we never move back with a heel. It's pretty impossible because of the way it's built. Yes. So as we went back, we know that we must get on the heel, but we cannot get stuck in the heel. So this is very popular mistake. We get a coffee break here on the heel, we get stuck.
So
we
body
sit
needs
there.
to go.
We know that we need to go out of there and we need to move out, let's say in the spin turn, right? So no coffee break on your heel. We know it's a toe, heel, toe. That gives us a hint to move the body forwards out of that heel, let's say into the underturn, spin turn.
What I admire about the footwork is that it teaches our body how to move, right? But what I admire about the footwork in technique book is that it's so connected to the timing, right? And to the rhythms that we're using, to the value that we're using in time to do certain things. So of course you're doing toe, heel, toe on one step, 3 like major actions, right? You have to hurry up, definitely. That step cannot be a slow and then you're late for the rest of your routine. So you really need to understand that, again, the rhythms that you are doing and other things, it is written for the legs, right? Where you do footwork and leg work already, sort of. But that is really for the body. So we still ask ourselves the same question. In order for us to do slow, quick, for our legs to do it, what does my body need to do so the leg can follow this way?
I have another question for our audience.
Okay.
How many of you guys have experienced lifting your feet up off the floor? And I'm not talking on purpose in tango. I'm not talking intentional lifting, but I'm talking like, we know that in swing dances, our feet have to stay on the floor.
As a mistake.
Yeah, I'm talking of it as a mistake. How many of you guys have experienced your feet like flying off the floor? You pick up your feet off the floor. Perhaps you see the pictures from the competition where your feet are off the floor. It's my personal nightmare.
Okay. I
had those pictures.
I never really experienced that. Even I was like little.
Well,
yeah,
very good.
I felt
good
like
good for you.
I'm too lazy. I'm too lazy even to leave the foot off the floor. I think that's my blessing.
I did on the ronde. Okay, ronde. Sometimes we
ronde reasonable. Yeah.
It's actually one of those that Could be.
That's a good comment.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Again, depends on our intention. If we want to have a low ronde that is going to keep our moving foot on the floor, of course, then we will have to have that connection. But very often we would have a high ronde, yes, well, obviously we're going to have that foot off
Tim
the
is
floor.
saying that in quick step he experienced that.
In quick step, all right, well, yes,
Depends.
sometimes in the step
Yeah.
hop, yes.
But on the basic quick step, if you do silver or
Yeah.
bronze, feet should stay on the floor.
And again, in quick step, that is also a very interesting subject. If we talk open gold routines, if we talk about step hops, and we talk about skater chassis, we talk about runs, even on the open gold level, our feet have to aim to stay on the floor. So what we want to create so much rise and fall, and we create it in a certain tempo, which is quite fast in quick step. And sometimes we would experience our feet, or we would experience ourselves up in the air. So even for step hops, even for skater chassis, if we allow our feet to relax and stay grounded to the floor and allow our body to lift, let's say if I would do something like a step hop here, I wouldn't try to lift my foot. Yes, I wouldn't try to find momentum from lifting my free leg and free foot.
Well, I as a body will do something, yeah.
I will create so much body rise that perhaps, I'll show you this way, perhaps my feet are going to go off the floor at some point, but I will always initiate it with my trunk, with my torso. I will never initiate it with my moving leg.
We have some major comments for you.
My God.
Yeah, you better sit down on the chair. So promenade exit from promenade.
Yes, one of those.
Yes, that's your nightmare. And another one is
outside change.
Happens when I do pivots and pivoting actions. Yeah.
Bingo. This is the good question. So I wouldn't say I had a lot of problems with the pivots, but I know many people do have, and I have students, and I have students who did this mistake, and I've seen a lot of pros do this mistake as well. And this is something that sometimes you see, do not copy. Feet and pivots have to stay on the floor as much as they have to stay on the floor in those promenades. So some of my students, let's start with promenades before we go to more complicated. So something like outside change, and I would show the outside change to promenade, and I would show the outside change to outside partner position. So very often happens to my students, we go to outside change, and this right foot is flying off. Could be the same in the promenade. I would go 1 and then 2, and this foot will be flying up and off the floor. This is the kind of lift that I was asking about, right? The feet lift. So of course, this is very much related to our body again. And this kind of mistake, it's not a toe or heel mistake. This is a mistake of basically distribution of the body within the feet. So as we spoke about, I could stay between
which
two
leads
feet,
to mistake of the
lifting,
foot.
yes.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm going with the heel, right? I'm still going with the toe, sort of correct, but lifts.
Yeah.
So distribution of my trunk in between my feet. So basically what I want to create, I call it, it's very much to me like loading from being 100% on one foot to start loading 99-1, 90-10 to 50-50 to again 100-0 and loading again and again and again. So it's a constant download like you would have on your computer, for example. So I'm downloading all the time. So I never have a situation when I'm 100% on the foot
for too long,
really. Yes. So it's a very passing moment of time basically, and that allows me to never lift my feet. So I always have this awareness of my free foot having certain amount of my body towards it, or body weight on top of it. So going into the promenade, let's say from the outside change, answering Trunk's question, I'm going to go to the promenade, and again, not to lift the foot, I'm already moving my body in space to the promenade. So as you can see here, if I would get stuck on my left foot, this would be free to tap wherever. So this is now out of my control. However, if my trunk is already moving out to the promenade, I'm basically loading that body weight on top of the new foot. It will never fly off. And same goes for the backwards. I'm going to really move my trunk backwards. So therefore, my feet will always stay on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So this is very important. We never allow ourselves to be stuck in one spot, basically over one standing foot for too long.
Yeah.
Hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, let us know, guys,
Pivots.
if you have any questions. Those were the main points that we need to know and consider in order to understand footwork as such, right? If you understand this, it's really easy then to reflect to the technique in terms of whether I'm doing heel or toe or flat or heel toe or other things, because the question is there about what my body needs to do, and we hope that we gave you a clear explanation and sort of a timeline, of things, why we are doing certain things right or wrong, especially wrong, right? Especially coming from that instinct that we have to push away from something, from the wall or from the floor, ever since we are kids, and that instinct is already there. So if you have this, red flag, green flag, let's say somebody tells you, let's push from the floor. Of course, we are the best. We're the best. We have tens of years of experience in doing that, right? Since we were born. So that's very easy. However, we must not forget about what is the relation here, that the body goes to the foot, and that's why foot is being used in order to do something. What is really important that is worth studying with us or with your teachers is that how does the ankle joint work? How does the knee and the hip joint work as I am doing this? This is really important.
Very much influencing your feet.
We are never afraid to release the information that we release today, because other things are also very important, and it really requires individual attention. It's really, very vague to talk about this like for the general audience. I think that should be certain private cases that we all have to work on. I can see many comments somehow.
Yeah.
Beautiful explanation. I agree. Lilia showed so clear, actually. Basically, if we do lifts, it's good to be gold level in quick step.
In quick step.
Yeah, in quick step. It's a gold level quick step technique. If you do so much with your body, then it might result in a lift.
In a hop, basically.
Yeah,
but this is a step hop.
Yeah, again, a difference between what Lilia showed about the step hop. I'm doing the step hop because I'm using my body so much and I lift, or I'm just lifting. Yeah, but definitely that's not earlier than open gold, I should say.
Yeah.
That was a very helpful explanation. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
So this is very, very dear subject, and I think for many people, we might have taken like an unexpected road how we got to the footwork explanation. But it is really important to have not just foot and floor relation, but also body, foot, and floor relation. And I should even say intention, body, foot, and floor relation.
Head, body.
Yeah, because if it's not generating in the brain, of course, it's not going to happen automatically. What will happen automatically is a push, because it's an instinct. That's something we all can do.
Exactly.
But pushing and doing something like rise and fall are not very compatible, especially if I'm lowering.
Quickly mentioning those pivots, because this is something that women pivot and spins in slow walls, open gold level. This is something that many girls would do. I believe unintentionally. I don't think anyone will tell you they would want to lift the feet off the floor in those pivots and spins. However, that happens a lot, and this is something that you see.
Oh, okay. I don't want to see this.
Probably Trank saw that as well.
Yeah.
This is actually happening from bad posture.
Yeah.
So what happens here is that
and lack of movement in a way.
Lack of movement, and lack of movement because of bad posture. Basically, have this kind of opening in our front of the body. So what we do, we disconnect our leg from our body. So when we move, then our leg is in the free flight. So basically, although we try to move our trunk forwards, bad posture, our leg stays behind. Now when we turn, it flies. So basically, we're out of control of that foot and this leg. So again, very similar to that example that I showed you with the promenade, there has to be some awareness of the moving leg all the time. So it is never free of body weight. It always has some awareness when you do the pivoting action, that I'm always having some body weight on it, and I'm checking back on my posture, because obviously pivots and spins are very dynamic, and it's very easy to lose your vertical alignment in those.
Yeah.
So that would be answering the pivoting actions.
Yeah. Thank you guys for your time. We are waiting for more likes, because again, I see that amount of people watching and likes are disproportional. Okay, so we hope you
like this video. Yeah.
You liked our live, apart from the like button. I mean, overall impression. And please let us know when you practice it at the studio. You can reach out to us. Again, subscribe to our newsletter at yaroslavlilia.com if you still haven't. If you have any questions on this, if you would like to discuss it more, we are always, one click away, basically.
One email away.
One email away or message, yeah. This is an essential subject, and we had a lot of fun preparing it, making all the notes. The sequence is very clear, and the execution should be very clear as well. Here it's not, it's either black and white in terms of the footwork, cannot be something in between. And we don't want here to be creative and compensate. No. We want to make sure that the pattern is very transparent. A few more. I love the topic. Very clear concept in terms of body weight control and generating footwork, but not always executed well in my case. We wish you well, to be well executing it. Good well.
Luck.
Thank you.
It requires a lot of patience.
Thank you so much for sharing insightful, valuable information. Love the clarity and explanation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, guys. Really enjoying this time. Like, I'm always looking forward to the lives that we do for you, and we are trying to do those more often right now, as well as we are planning to share more exciting content for you very soon in the newsletter, on our YouTube, on our yaroslavlilia.com website. So make sure to subscribe.
Also, it will be very helpful if you share this video on Facebook, any other social networks, even send to your friends, because that also helps a lot. YouTube is important for us, and I think our next live will be probably still this month. We'll try to make it before the end of November.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Have a good rest of your day.
And
Bye-bye.
Have great practice.
Have a great practice. Be patient.